This is the iRacers Lounge, featuring the latest iRacing news, driver interviews, race reviews, opinions, discussions, rumors, and more. Now here's Alan Pajari and Mike Ellis. Welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I'm your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is the podcast for the iRacer, where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. With me is the usual Carlos Fonseca, Jose Pabon, also Brad Wren, Jeff Walton are with us as well. Alan Pajari could not make it today, this time. He was busy. Welcome, guys.
Good evening. How's it going?
Going good. We wanted to get a show out this week because there's so much going on in iRacing right now. Starting out with, we're going to talk to teammate Jose Pabon about some of the changes he's made to his system. Jose, you've been showcased on the show before. We went through your system, but you've made changes since that time. We wanted to take a moment and let you talk about those. So tell us what you got.
Sure. Well, I had a little problem with my G27 pedals and G27 steering wheel. Decided to upgrade and decided to go with Fanatec. Ended up buying the Fanatec wheel with the BMW rim along with the V3 pedals, which are excellent piece of equipment, by the way. Pedals are very, very sturdy. Everybody seems to know about the Fanatec wheel, so no reason for me to go into details with that. Along with that, I also ended up purchasing the GT Omega triple monitor stand, the standalone, which works perfectly for the rig that I currently have. I have it set up right now. Might need a little bit of tweaking when it comes to the field of view, but I did set up the field of view the way it was supposed to, as told and advised to me, and it seems to have helped a little bit when it comes to the way I'm driving. Still have to get very used to it. It's just like the pedals. I have to get used to them. They were a very big change from the natural G27s.
Okay, so let me ask a few questions here. These Club Sport pedals, V3, these are not hydraulic or anything like that. These are what's called load cell?
That is correct. They're load cells. They also have some sort of a little vibration sensation to it.
Force
when you're
feedback.
braking. Correct. So you have a sensation of when you're braking and when you're accelerating, taking turns, you can like feel a little bounce on the tires per se. Again, it takes time getting used to them. They are different than what I was used to in the past. So I'm still in the learning curve when it comes to these particular pedals and trying to adjust them to my liking.
They're floor mount only. It looks like you just have them sitting on the floor, or are they mounted? Or
well, they're currently mounted to hard mounted. I do have them bolted onto my rig. I have an R-seat rig, so they're hard mounted along with all of my other accessories. Everything is actually hard mounted with screws, so they won't move anywhere.
good stuff there. And I guess the final question I had on this was, why did you pick this one, the Fanatec pedals V3? You know, when you needed to replace that G27, was it price? Was it function? Was it some combination of? I mean, did you look at some of the higher end systems, or I mean, what were you looking at?
Well, I definitely did a lot of investigative looking into when it came to equipment. Unfortunately, when I needed the complete set, steering wheel, pedal set, I just didn't find any other option unless I would go on Thrustmaster or G27, of course. Cost was a big issue. I was not able to buy AccuForce because of the cost. Same thing with the pedals, which are hydraulic or high performance pedal. We're talking about $1,000+ there, which at this time I just cannot afford, nor put my life in jeopardy when it comes to my wife.
Of course.
So I decided, well, I'll try to make ends meet in the middle by looking at Fanatec, and I've always admired the equipment for Fanatec. I took some time. It really took me about a year or so before I really decided to purchase this equipment. I did have the money at the time to purchase it, and the expense was not as much as I thought. So I decided to go with this particular option, even though it was not hydraulic, and it was a step up from the G27.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so now the triple monitor stand, you already had triples. So how did you have those displayed, before you bought the stand?
Well, the triple monitors were on a table, this plastic, I guess, a heavy plastic table, which distanced itself from my seat about a good 20 inches, 25, 30 inches away from me. So the field of view was a little different. When I bought the steering wheel and the pedals, I was also looking into the triple monitor stands, but unfortunately they were very expensive when it came to our seat. I looked at also at a Butto. Even though a Butto was a little bit less expensive, I didn't feel that they were sturdy enough.
It's not, by the way.
And because of that, I continued to search, and there was a couple of other places. First, Fast Track, I believe, was one of them that I looked at, which was an open option. Yes, correct. That was an option that I was heavily looking into. When I came across GT Omega by chance, I just, for some reason, something made me look into their website, and lo and behold, there goes exactly what I was looking for. And not only that, the fact of the matter that it was free shipping. The free shipping, I think, is what made it the deal for me. It was only $259, I believe, for the triple monitor stands. Free shipping. If I would have gone with a Butto or RC alone was $400 for the triple monitor stand, and that does not include shipping. A Butto is the same. Butto was about $250, I believe it was, not shipping not included. So when it came to cost and quality, not just to mention the cost, but the quality of the product, GT Omega was my better choice.
Now, I'm looking at this picture of this stand, and is it really truly freestanding? Like, it doesn't have to lean against the cockpit like mine does?
That is correct. I can move my cockpit away from the monitor stand at any given time to make adjustments or grease up the pedals when they're needed to be done, or if I need to make addition to the cockpit itself. Yeah, they're definitely, and there's, like I said, they're very sturdy. They do not tilt. I can extend the feet out. It's very adjustable. I found it extremely adjustable.
Right. That's cool. So I really like the look of it.
Thank you.
So next up, let's start talking about the next topic here. The Peak Race Antifreeze Series. They went to California, and Ray Alfalla takes the win. PJ Sturgio's second, Kenny Humpy third, Alan Bowes fourth, and David Radler fifth. So I didn't actually see the event, but I did see some of the highlights on Facebook and stuff, and it looked like a pretty good race. And Ray is still strong as ever.
Yeah, it seems like all the regulars up there at the front.
Normal names: Kenny Humpy, Ray Alfalla, definitely.
Yep, and looking at points, it's much the same. Actually, the top three. Hold on a minute. I'm looking at results, not points. There's the points. PJ Sturgio leads the points over Ray Alfalla. Actually, they're tied. I'm not sure why they put PJ first, but anyway, they're tied with 169 points. Alan Bowes in third with 158. Jake Sturgio's 155 in fourth. Then Chris Overland fifth. So congrats to those guys. I guess it's time to start watching points. It's that time of the season.
I agree. Definitely have to watch those points and hope for the best for all of them. I mean, we have had them here, a couple of them at least here before. Kenny Humphrey, Tyler Hudson in the past in our broadcast, and we wish them the best of luck and hope a lot of success for them.
Yep. Average finish for the point leader, PJ, 3.3. Man, that's pretty darn good.
Well, those guys don't mess around.
Okay, so next up, we usually go over the 2016 iRacing World Championship, which is the Formula One stuff. And let's see who got that one. We got Joni Tormala. Joni Tormala. I hope I said that right. Won that race at Road America for the Round 4 event. Mitchell de Jong, second. Martin Kroenke, third. Gregor Hutu, fourth. Oli Pacala, fifth. Ollie Pacala.
Wow, Gregor Hutu fourth. That's a surprise to me. Usually I see his name on the top.
He's usually first or second is usually how it rolls. So yeah, I mean, he's really got some increased competition. And we talked about this a little last season with Mitchell de Jong, having a lot of good runs in the top 5. And he's still proven to be, someone to reckon with.
Now they're using the new Formula One car, correct?
They are, yeah.
So there's a lot of getting used to when it comes to all the new settings and adjustments with those cars.
And so let's look at the points. Martin Kroenke is leading, 137. 5 back, Mitchell de Jong. In third, Gregor Hutu, 6 back. So the points are really tight here. And Hutu is not in the lead. So if you can get up early enough in the morning to watch these guys race live, I'm sure it's a good race.
Oh yeah, I've gotten up, and yeah, they are amazing to watch. They're excellent drivers.
Yeah, so next up, let's go through NIS, the NASCAR iRacing Series. Well, for Tifosi Racing, we had pretty much mixed results. Martinsville, let's go through, how'd you do, Brad?
I had a pretty decent week. Open, finished at 13. Struggled with the setup and just never could have, got the forward bite I needed out of the corners, but survived. Ended up with a 13th and sitting actually in 10th position in the standings in Division 2. And then had a bad Saturday in the fixed, so decided to go ahead and run again on Sunday night and came away with a second place finish. Had a great race, a lot of fun. So fixed was a good turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, second at Martinsville, man, that's like a win, I would say. Good
nice
run.
Job.
I mean, that was the best result out of the entire team. So, congrats, Brad. You're continuing to show you're one of the better drivers on the team. So, good job. Jeff, are you on? How'd you do?
I wasn't able to run the Open, so it's 2 weeks in a row I haven't ran Open. I got to run fixed once, and I believe I finished 10th or 12th.
10th. And you're showing 12th in the standings there and fixed. So, hey, I mean, you run once, you get a top 10. Good job.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Carlos, how did you run?
Mediocre, but I got myself an undeserving 5th place finish in the fix, and I'll take it. But
You stole it, huh?
yeah, pretty much just waited for everyone else to wreck and kind of held on. Really, all you could do at Martinsville, just hold on to your position, don't let anyone by, and well, probably leave there with a lot of enemies. Open though, I forgot to run it.
You forgot to run it, or you just stayed away?
I was, I thought about, the whole thing, but I really didn't have any time, and so kind of skipped it. But I kind of wanted to run, but I forgot. By the time I thought about it, it was too late.
Right. Okay, who else do we got in here? Okay, just me. Let's see. I got an 18th in the Open and 17th in the fixed, and just another bad week. I had a top 10 going in one of those races, actually, and got DQ'd for too many incidents.
Oh, yeah,
points.
You were in that race with me.
Right, and that's where you got the 5th, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I was running right with you the whole race. Carlos and I were I was chasing Carlos around that track the whole night, but I was going to have a top 10 with Carlos, and then I had an incident and one too many.
Yep.
Well, that also, Mike, didn't you have like 5 to go when that happened?
Yeah, it was I think it was 10 to go, or within 10 to go.
Yeah, it was near the end.
One of the final restarts, and I think it was Dusty Rhodes, actually, who came, one of those crazy dive bombs on the inside and kind of push you up out of the way, and that little touch of the car, even though it was a gentle touch, it was, was still an incident, and it was one too many.
I don't know, Dusty Rhodes, I hate to say it, but he was driving like a jackass that night. Seriously,
Well,
he started
I got a
down.
piece of it. Well, let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, how was the racing at Martinsville? Was there a lot of jackasses? I mean, that's usually kind of the theme.
Well, I mean, there's going to be dive bomb, and in reality, I mean, I spent a lot of time looking in the mirror, and I just let guys go. I would defend a little bit, but at lap 60 or lap 80 out of 250, there's just no point. Go on, you can go on up and run your race and wreck somebody else. And the guys that were super aggressive, I let them go ahead of me, and I just used them to get past the cars in front of me. Let them open up the hole and just follow them through.
Yeah, and when you mean open up the hole, that means somebody has to slide up into the outer groove, and that's really hanging them out to dry at Martinsville. I mean, once you get up there, and we really saw this on restarts, Brad, you were lamenting every time you had an even starting number because you had to start on the outside.
Yeah, it's just tough. I mean, when you're trying to stay up there in the top 5 and you got to restart on the outside, I mean, you just got to be super aggressive. And you hate to chop someone's nose, but that's what you got to do, especially when you're getting down towards the end of the race. And you can't stay on the outside. It's no different than the real race. If you watch the Cup race on Sunday, guys get hung on the outside, they drop 10 or 15 positions. You just can't get back in. It's just a freight train coming.
Yep.
Yeah, during that NASCAR race, you'd see those guys coming off pit road trying to manipulate, what position they came off the pit road on. I didn't really see that in our races. Did you guys see any of that?
Well, every time I thought about it, it was too late.
Yeah, the problem is you just don't know what everybody else is doing. You have one guy that stays out, and you think you've nailed it, and now you're going to be sitting on the outside. So we don't have the luxury of somebody up on a tower counting cars for us.
But man, if we did, like if we had a spotter on our team and they were on the ball, and it was able to give us that kind of information, boy, I think it would be an advantage.
Oh, certainly.
Only thing I didn't like about Martinsville was that whole outside lane deal forced you to just be really aggressive at cutting people off to get to the bottom.
Yeah, it's just the nature of it. I mean, I love racing at Martinsville. It's probably one of my favorite tracks. I love racing there. It's, you got to be aggressive, but at the same time, you've got to be patient also. So it's got to be a good mix, and you got to decide when you want to go and when you're not going to go. Like I said early on, I just let them go. I don't mind running. I run my own pace, stay where I had to stay, and it was fine.
I personally was surprised at the outcome of Martinsville races this weekend or this week, especially considering the way it went on Monday for our league race, which was not very nice at all. The rest of the week in Martinsville was actually fun, in my opinion.
I got wrecked out a few times, so I don't know if I'd call it fun, but let's mention some of the other finishes by other team members that are not here. Brad Miller got a 9th in the Open, 16th in the Fix. Brian Cozier, he got a 9th in the Fix, didn't run Open. Jonas Hankins got a top 5 in Fixed. Good job, Jonas. 21st in Open. And Matt Boley, 21st in Open and 29th in Fixed. Ouch.
I know Matt only has opportunity to run, each series only once, so it's kind of a one and done for him.
Yeah, and if he gets wrecked out, that's his only recourse. So, yeah, bummer for Matt, but we were pulling for him, and he just had a rough week.
That's a big challenge to do it one and out.
I know. I think, the rest of us that are running the 3 or 4 times a week, I know
crazy.
Jose and I mostly are. are getting extra shots at it. You get wrecked out. Oh, I'll come back tomorrow. Come back in 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, my intent is to run one and done, but there's also the luxury that if something does happen in the first race, I can run again.
So, Brad, if you get a top 5 or something, you're usually one and done.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not going to risk it.
Yep, same here.
The same here.
I don't. I run 2 and 2, 2 open and 2 fixed, or I try to most of the time to run 2 and 2.
See, I'm thinking though, if I'm running good and I get a top 5, man, I want to try again and try to get a win. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, wait for Daytona.
Well, yeah. See, that's what I do.
Yeah, and it depends too. If I'm running, really, really good, as opposed to, just happen to luck into a top 5, that's a different story. Yeah, but if I've gotten away in Martinsville with a top 5, I'm done.
Hell, I might run 2 for Texas this week.
Let's talk about Texas. That's coming up here, and we start the open race tomorrow. So, what do you guys expect? I know most of you guys ran last night in the league race. How was the fixed set?
It was good in that weather we had, but it's going to be absolutely miserable for open or regular default weather and default time of day.
Yeah, that's a little bit of testing I did over the weekend. I can agree with that.
Is it tight or loose? What do you mean?
It's really loose when you get into the corner, especially if you just throw it in there, you're just going to wreck it. There's no chance in hell you're going to come out of that alive. And middle seems to be tight, and then it gets loose again at the way exit.
Yeah, I mean, entry you can kind of control. Once you get in, actually getting back on the gas will settle the car down some, but the problem's getting off, and that's where I was struggling with. I was getting off at 2 without wrecking.
Yep.
Now, I saw some of the highlights of that race last night, and it looked like a big wreck off 2 took out like 10 cars. I mean, that track really blocks up, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this Monday was any different than Martinsville. It's just aggressive drivers. It's a league with very good drivers. It's just everybody's very aggressive.
Right.
I don't know. All I know is I had fun.
I'm thinking in the NIS, maybe people are less aggressive, do you think? Because points are on the line and that kind of thing?
I think there's a lot of things that are different when it comes to the league race compared to NIS. A good example, first of all, is NIS. You tend to either gain points, lose points in your I rating and safety rating. Not so in the league race. So a person will tend to drive a little bit more aggressively.
Yeah, they drive differently. That's what I was saying.
Yes. Not only that, you also have 2 professional or pro drivers in our league, Tom Hudson and Andrew Fayash. There's a lot of guys out there that want to prove themselves and claim that, I can run with the big boys, So they'll drive over their heads sometimes and get involved in getting wrecks.
Yeah, you're saying there's a wide range of I rating in the league, obviously, but in NIS, you're actually racing with people of your own I rating.
Yeah, I don't run near as hard in NIS as I do in the Integrity League just because of who I'm racing with.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, Texas should be fun. We'll see how we do there. I expect to do better than Martinsville personally, so we'll see. But I expect to be caught up in a big wreck off of 2, too. I mean, you almost can bank on that, too.
Well, I wish the setup yesterday was the same as what we would be running in the NIS. Unfortunately, he used a different time and different temperature, so to get a feel of how Texas is going to be this week is going to be really a challenge.
Well, if it's anything like yesterday, it was somewhat loose getting in at the start, but once they ever got a run, it got so tight, it seriously felt like the right front was just gone, like it wasn't even there.
Yep.
So hopefully that shows up in NIS.
Yep, and let's move on to the next topic here. We've had patch 1 for season 2, as they call it, released, and that was March 30. And this was to fix all the issues from the release of DX11 and the last major release. So this is kind of a patch to fix bugs. And there's quite a few things in here, so we're going to try to hit on some of the highlights. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read a couple sentences here of basically the intro of the release notes, and it kind of describes what this patch is about. Several quality improvements have been made with this patch to enhance your experience on iRacing, including frame rate improvements and various bug fixes. That said, there is still a known issue that a small number of our testers have with this patch. The iRacing application can freeze when the particle detail setting is at the medium or high value. Therefore, the sim will automatically set your particle detail setting to the low value when it first launches. Feel free to adjust this if you wish, as these freezes are fairly rare and seem to affect only a small percentage of systems. If you do increase the particle detail setting and then experience app freezes, it may be due to this setting. So there's still issues, even though they've released this patch that they just acknowledged, and have to do with that particle thing, and you need to make sure to set that to low.
Yeah, I think I read on the forums, I think there's actually some issues with the popcorn effects that they're having to try to work through.
Right. And let's go down through the list here of some of these other changes. The website, they fixed an issue where the popular races was not loading. And a lot of users had expressed a problem with that when the release first came out.
I'm not sure if I've actually ever used that.
Yeah, I don't think that's how I join races either, but apparently a lot of people do, because I remember reading all the forum posts about it. So.
I just realized I forgot to record on TeamSpeak here.
And you are recording, right? Of
I
course.
am through the stream, so I'll have to use.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know.
Yep.
Netcode. They prevent the sim from dynamically probing your network connection to see how large a packet it can send. And then they changed the default maximum network packet size. So remember, they added the 768 and 1 megabit selectors in your account settings on the website, depending on how big a internet pipe you have. And so what they did is they changed the default of that. So again, you might want to go and look at that and make sure it's set where you want it to be.
Yeah, the higher you set it, the more information the sim's going to transfer back and forth. And if you don't have the connection to sustain it, you're going to end up with quality issues.
Right. And we were talking to Jose earlier about this, right? Jose, you were thinking maybe this might be part of your problem. You had a couple blinking out issues.
Yes, yesterday I had the L bar on my was red, and all the cars were jumping all over the place, and they were all blinking. I also been in several endurance races where once I get into the race, it gets very choppy, and I lose a lot of frame rates. This has been happening to me since the recent update, and I had questioned this particular scenario in regards to that subject that you're talking about right now. Right now, I just lowered it to 512 myself to see if it'll help me in the near future. Of course, that's some testing that has to be done, and I'm not sure if it is the cause of my problem.
The one thing I would say is keep in mind too, when like last night, the integrity race, in official racing, we're not running with 43 cars, and we had 43 cars in there, so that's a lot of load on the server, outside of what we normally see with official racing with about 32 cars.
Yeah.
You're correct, and in the endurance race is the same scenario, being that it's 53 cars, I believe it was, Carlos, that we ran in the last one.
Yep.
And not only 53 cars, but you also have at least a minimum of one member per car, possibly 2 to 3. So on the server itself,
it's probably international too.
Exactly, and that means you're dealing with probably over 100 people in that one server, either watching or racing in the endurance. So it could be, again, a part of the problem, but I want to resolve it. I definitely want to resolve that issue, and I'll try anything right now.
Well, it's a work in progress, as you'll see here. The next thing they really kind of addressed here was about 15 different bug fixes with DX11. I'm not going to read those off, but basically there were a lot of issues reported, and it looks like they addressed a lot of those. The same thing with popcorn effects. There were some changes made there where the default setting goes to low. Dynamic tire debris accumulation. There was an issue with that, and apparently they've made some adjustments there.
I think what people need to remember too is this first release of DX11 was a beta. Seemed to be a lot of upset people on the forums. And, it's the first time it's been released. There's going to be patches. It's not, it's not the final product.
Right. Yeah, and there's a lot of changes here. So some fixes to weather, easy anti-cheat, video capture is now disabled by default, and they've made a couple changes there.
Well, most of this, just to let you know, Mike, is a rewrite of the initial implementation of after the season 1. So this is the whole update. They just added whatever they did in the patch.
Bug fixes, right? Yeah.
Exactly. But the rest of it is basically what they have already had in there.
Now, one thing, the last thing I'm going to point out here that caught my eye when you look down at the individual tracks and cars, and they always have little bug fixes usually for all of them. Most of them got terrain art updates, as they call it. But one of them that caught my eye and that I actually got to try this week was the NASCAR Sprint Cup Chevrolet Impala Car of Tomorrow circa 2013. This old Cup car, they've removed the restrictor plate engine package and added the ability to change the gear to a 2.90 at super speedway tracks. So what this has done is created a scenario where you can race the old Cup car without restrictor plates on a restrictor plate track. And I tell you what, the other night I ran a Nordgar league race. Actually, it was a hosted race by Nordgar, and had a huge fun time with that. And we were wrecking all the time until everyone kind of figured it out. But what happens is you get up to speed, and after the second lap, if you're not lifting going into the corner, you will hit the wall, guaranteed. And so every time we got to the second lap after a restart, a handful of people would wreck. Well, eventually, all the bad drivers, we got weeded out, and we got down to people understood that they needed a lift, and we actually had a few laps of racing, and it was the most fun I've had in a long time. Going to Talladega, you're going down the front stretch or the back stretch. You're hitting 240 in the draft. You're having to get completely out of the gas, getting into 1 or 3, and it's all about who can put them up on the dash and just let them hang out. And it was so much fun. There was these huge drafts, and I actually won the race, and I think that was part of why I had so much fun. But everyone's got to try it.
And yet we're struggling to make 200 miles an hour going into a corner and holding it with a Gen 6. At least that's how it was.
It's really fun. I mean, we need to set up a hosted session and go try it again. And I saw some other feedback on Twitter from another iRacer that said, let's have a league that's just Talladega, or no, they said a league that's just Monza Oval with this Car of Tomorrow. And they would be happy forever. But I agree, it was a blast.
I ran a hosted session with Ryan with the same car with a fixed Daytona set. You had to lift coming out of 2, or you were gonna smack the wall.
Oh,
there
yeah.
was no other way. It was single lane. You were just stuck unless when you went through the turns, you didn't dare go up in the middle or high side. You were done.
And it's not plate racing like it's not pack racing anymore when it's like that. It's more like a real racetrack, because there's lifting going on. There's no pack racing at all.
No, I mean, it's back in your hand. You're back controlling the car again instead of just following a line. And they put it, like I said, they just put it back in your hand. And it is such a blast to hit 250 in the car and just throw it in the corner and you just open holes.
You just float it down in there, and yeah, it is really fun. Glad to see you tried it. All right, let's keep moving on. Let's talk about what happened post this patch. A bunch of people right off the bat jumped in the first day and said, I have DSD, Derek Spears pedals, and they do not work anymore. So everyone who has any kind of electronics that include Derek Spears electronics, which are not only the Derek Spears pedals, but I believe the pedals made by Emery, none of those worked after the update. So that was a problem.
Yeah, it just ended up being. I think they had made a change to the INI file about something with the David Tucker chimed in and one quick change of I think a 1 to a 0 and everybody was good.
Yeah, actually, there is a setting, right?
Yeah, I changed mine. I changed mine before I even launched the sim after the update because I saw it.
Right. So there is a workaround. You can look that up. So that was one thing that happened. There were some other graphical bugs on the DX11 side, and I'm personally still on DX9, mainly because I don't want to. I've seen in the forums some of the challenges people have, and it's not everybody, but the people that are having the challenges are on the DX11 side. So one guy posted a video where the pit wall was disappearing on him as he drove by it, and it would visually disappear. And so there were just little things like that. There's also a thing where if you have your Windows screensaver enabled a certain way, it messes up. Brad, this happened to you, right?
Yeah, when the build came out and trying DX11, if you have your Windows set up, and I'm still on Windows 7, but if you require the login after coming back, from screensaver, that would kick you out of the game. So that was happening to me, and a little bit of search on the forum, and I just changed the settings. Me personally, I've gone to DX11 since this patch last week, and it's been great. I've not had any issues. I have not, as far as race-wise, I've left the particle setting on low. I've tried it on medium in practice sessions and haven't had any issues at all. But before I could run DX11. The patch before last week, and now it's been great. So I'm going to keep trying it and see what happens. Right.
We had other people report, such as Kevin King, who is, used to be one of the pros or is a pro out there. He noticed his triples were going black in the middle of a race. That's pretty bad. One of the iRacing staff members, Dave Goslin, piped in. He said, we believe this is related to notification message windows causing the sim to think it has lost focus. We are working on a fix for this, but in the meantime, we recommend running in full screen borderless window mode.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought that was being addressed already. I thought that was addressed in the patch, but it's been a mix, like you said. Whether you're running NVIDIA, you're running AMD, as far as graphics cards, it's hit and miss, and it's like anything else. You can test it whatever you want to test in an environment, and as soon as you put it out to 5,000 members, there's no telling what every system has.
So you're saying earlier about the whole, someone said there was a pit wall missing?
Yeah.
Was that at Spa? Because I had the same issue on Sunday.
Yeah, at Spa. Yeah. As he drove through pit road, the left pit wall would kind of disappear and reappear.
Yeah, it was weird. I saw it there, but I kind of ignored it. But that's not the only place I noticed something weird. I went to Road America, and in the carousel, like where grass should be in the hills and trees area, it's just missing textures. There's nothing there.
That's interesting, because I was experiencing the same thing in Spa with that wall. I also experienced the same with the black screen when I'm either watching somebody or just watching my car in the pit stall. It goes to a black screen. Every single issue that you have mentioned so far I've been experienced somehow, and it's because of DX11, I guess.
Yeah, I think if you put it on 9, you wouldn't have see any of those things.
Yeah, and I'll reiterate what I said before. Everybody needs to remember that this is beta, so this is they're still trying to get all the bugs fixed.
Right. It's alpha, but it's really beta.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about going back to DX9 for the fact is like kind of using too much GPU. I need to go back to using more processor.
I think my thing is every time I race, I'm racing NIS for points, and I just don't want to risk. I've already had problems when I first tried the DX11, where the screen would die and I would get crash, and it would ruin my entire race. So I just try to stay away from it until they fix some of these things. But like you said, there are people that are actually having good results with it, so it's not everybody.
Yeah, so far that only issue I had was just that little pit road incident and textures missing, but that's all I've ever had problems with.
Well, and like I said, I think Mike, you and I have pretty comparable GPUs. There's not much difference between them, and probably our systems aren't a whole lot different either. And
Right.
I'm not having any issues. So.
Yep. So they're working on it. Let's move on to the next topic. We said we brought this up the last couple episodes, but we'll continue to until it happens. And that's April 27th through the 29th, Dallas, Texas, the iRace for Life seminar. So check that out if you're able to. It sure looks like fun. I need to find the time and resources to be able to go. I'd love to get involved in something like this.
Yeah, I would too. My wife and I talked about it last year that she'd love for me to be able to go. It's just trying to figure out how to do it. Being on the East Coast, get to Texas, that's a big haul.
Yeah,
I agree.
Hotel rooms and travel. But yeah, I mean, looks like fun. If you're in the Texas area, boy, it's a no-brainer. I would be going for sure.
Yeah, and the great thing is they do video a lot of the stuff, and that'll go back up when it's all said and done. So if you can't go, there's the opportunity to be able to watch the videos to pick up on a lot of what happened. Oh
yeah, and I like watching those too.
For the last 2 or 3 years, I've always watched their replays on some of the videos that they show. David Cater in particular with his iRacing setups. Which are very informative, along with other guys and using some of the apps that they have developed throughout the years. It's very interesting.
But I think it would be fun to go out and hang out with a bunch of iRacing nerds.
All right, so let's move on. Today is April 5th. We just got by April Fool's Day, and on April Fool's Day, as iRacing usually does, they try to fool us. And so I'm going to kind of go in chronological order here, but on April Fool's Day, they basically announced, they put up a picture and they put up the hashtag #DirtConfirmed on Facebook and on Twitter. And that's it. No explanation, just a hashtag.
Yeah, and I laughed.
Yeah, and everyone's like, yeah, this is the normal, come on guys, come up with something original. Didn't they do that last year?
Last year was the iRacing Mobile.
Oh, that's right, iRacing Mobile.
Yes, I remember that.
That sent the forums into pure panic mode.
That's how everyone felt when they opened up Steam to iRacing.
And then Steve Myers, who's an employee at iRacing, he was twittering some stuff as well, including on April 1st a link to a YouTube video that basically showed a video from iRacing about building dirt racing, dirt tracks, dirt cars. Again, released April 1st. We're just thinking, oh, they just made a video to go along with it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and when you watch the video, there are parts of it that it's comical, and I'm like, this is like completely pieced together, ha 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 ha.
Yep.
Like the guy tasting the dirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so in the video, it shows a picture of Clint Boyer's dirt late model team, which happens to be sponsored by Peak Antifreeze, or Peak, who also sponsors the Peak Series. So anyway, so on Twitter now, people are asking Clint Boyer, the NASCAR superstar, hey, is iRacing doing dirt? Are you involved in this? And he twitters back, yes! Exclamation point. So Clint, gets involved, but again, it's still April 1st. So, and we all know Clint Boyer's a joker, so nobody still believes anything here. It's April 1st, it's April Fool's Day. So then, that's it. We don't hear anything. Everyone kind of talked about it and, forgot about it. 3 days later, we start hearing some more stuff, and all of a sudden, Myers tweets out a CAD scan or an iRacing scan of a rally dirt car, a Ford dirt car.
Well, don't forget, Mike, not only that, iRacing put out a dirt confirmed a day or two after April 1st on the website. It was the first article that they had, even before they announced the car that they're developing as well.
Well, yeah, so technically they announced dirt on the 1st, but nobody believed it. That's what I'm trying to say. And
Correct.
then on the 4th, which was yesterday, all this stuff came out, okay? So the first thing that came out on the 4th was Myers released a CAD scan of this rally dirt car. And so that really got people's attention. Then iRacing released in short order after that on Facebook a video of a rallycross jumping at a dirt test track in the iRacing sim. A short 5-second video of it.
I think it was actually the rough that was jumping. It's so small it's hard to see.
Oh, it's a rough car, right, on a dirt track, right?
Yeah.
And so on. And so then we got a tweet of a model of a clay model of a dirt car. And then finally we got some real world news where all of a sudden we get press releases from actual NASCAR media that iRacing has contracted with Eldora Speedway to scan and build Eldora into iRacing.
That's going to be so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
And hats off to iRacing for letting this go on April 1st and fooling everybody.
Well, I think, Brad, you said they know their audience, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, they played us like a
fiddle.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
it was they played into everything that anybody could have done. I mean, just from a marketing side point, genius.
Also, let's not forget, there is the secondary announcement that was also made in the forums, and it has to do with I-rating and safety rating. Well, I believe it was I-rating in regards to making them for each individual car. I'm actually seeing a posting here by Tony Gardner, and this is what he said. Current thinking is to add a dirt road and a dirt oval license SR. Additionally, looking into options in regards to the way incident might work for dirt and making some adjustments for these series and licenses. So they're thinking of also separating your I rating and maybe safety rating into individual cars within iRacing.
Well, I don't read that as individual cars. I read that as you have an oval IR and SR, you have a road IR and SR, but those are all pavement, and now you're going to have a dirt IR and SR.
Yeah, I mean, I personally would love to have an I rating by individual car, but I don't think it'll ever happen.
Yeah, but
No.
they did post that on April 1st. I don't know if that was part of their April Fool's joke or if this is also coming into fruition.
There was a forum post by a member that kind of started it, but I think when I read through that, I think it kind of got shot down as not being completely accurate. Again, me personally, I'd love to have it. I'd love to be able to go run cars so I don't give up my I rating for NIS.
I agree.
We'll see. It's certainly a discussion that's kind of, I don't know if it's open discussion, but people are talking about it. If they were going to make a change, that this would be a good time to do it.
Yeah, you've got to do something. If you're going to bring dirt into it, you have to go ahead and do a separate class because they're going to have to do the incidents different. There's no way you can go into the same SR safety rating the way it is structured, on the asphalt side. There's just no way.
Right.
Well, I said the same thing when endurance racing started as well, that they should have implemented a way for a person to gain some sort of I rating within the endurance racing. We do gain and lose safety rating. Why not I rating?
Right. That is a broken system. There should have been a separate kind of endurance or a team IR or something.
Exactly. And then who knows? They might be leaning to it sometime in the near future. It's up for discussion, and there is a thought involved with it. And it seems like iRacing does listen to the public, as you can see when it comes to Dirt Confirmed.
Yeah. So let me finish up with Eldora. I have a couple quotes I'm going to read. Speedway promoter and general manager of Eldora Speedway, Roger Slack, said, "We're ecstatic to partner with iRacing in bringing dirt track racing to sim racers around the world. Eldora has a history of first that have produced the biggest and best events in dirt track racing, so it's fitting that the world's greatest dirt track will be available on the world's greatest sim racing service." So, nice words from Roger there.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, that's to get Eldora, that's huge. I mean, that completes the full NASCAR schedule.
And one more quote here in the article from Kyle Larson, Sprint Cup superstar. He said, "This is great news. iRacing adding dirt racing and Eldora is really exciting. I've had some fantastic races at the Big E and can't wait to go there virtually. As a longtime member of iRacing, I've offered my help as they develop dirt, so I'm looking forward to contributing to the project."
He is one person that I would like to see in iRacing when they put out dirt racing. I've seen them, of course, in Eldora last season, and he has an amazing talent there. I can just see it now coming into the virtual world and doing the same thing he does in the real world.
Well, I think he's saying here he's actually telling iRacing, "Hey, I want to help you, help you figure this out. So, and get involved." I think that's great.
I agree.
I almost feel like now, if you don't have triple monitors when it comes to dirt, you're going to need them.
Because you're going to be looking out the right side window?
Exactly.
I wonder how that's going to work. Is your head going to turn, or is it going to be you turn to the right?
I hope not. I mean, it's doable with one screen.
Yeah, they got to
gotta
design
hear.
it where one screen works, because most people are still on one screen. We got to remember that.
I don't know, it drives me nuts when the camera automatically turns itself. I would rather do it myself, but have a setting for it at least, for most racing sims have a look to Apex feature where it does, your head turns in game.
Yeah.
And something like that would be probably, workable there.
Well,
you can pretty much hear where the cars are and try to guess where they're at from there, but it's going to be a lot of beating and banging and a lot of angry people.
Well, remember, I have on the motion cockpit view thing where your head turns and whatnot, and I was kind of thinking, well, how is this going to work in a dirt race?
I think isn't that as far as however many degrees, as far as you get past a certain point before it turns?
Yeah, it'll just tweak a little bit, and if you get past a certain point, then it'll go jump a lot.
I don't know how I can't do that. That's
I got used to it, and now I can't race without it. So
yeah, mine's very minimal.
I deactivated mine the day after.
I think now would be a good time for them to come out with virtual reality headsets that
are affordable.
Well, I mean, put the computer screen right in front of your eyes. You look at your mirror. Guess what? You're looking at your mirror. You look at your side. You turn your head. You see. I think that'd be kind of neat to do too.
Well, the problem I got with that is I got a nice shit there. I got a button box. Got all that stuff I want to use. I can't see that if I've got something on my face.
On your face.
Good point.
Yep. I agree.
I know.
Because what is it's like $600?
That's more than that, I think. I don't know. I have no desire to go to the Rift or anything like that. The only thing I will say, I know the entire iRacing universe is super excited. All I can say to temper it is I would not expect it this year. I know they said it
No.
this year,
Oh
but
yeah, they said
I would
soon, so
not.
it's a lie.
Soon.
Exactly.
It's iRacing soon. Everyone knows what that means.
Didn't they say soon about Le Mans? I don't see that track yet.
Well, we're approaching June pretty darn fast, so.
I would expect Le Mans before dirt.
Yeah, they're trying to get it out before the race this year, so.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, let's keep going. Eldora, obviously, is added to the list. Thank you, Tony Stewart and Roger Slack, for working with iRacing on that. We do appreciate that. Tony Gardner did pipe up in the forums after that about what are we doing with other dirt tracks. He said, we will very likely create dirt configs on some existing ovals since we are not going to have numerous dirt tracks done soon. Additionally, in doing that, there will be more value to the members since if you already own, say, for example, Bristol, you will not have to buy it again to race on dirt on Bristol. We obviously need to keep doing other tracks and want to go back and polish up old tracks as well.
They need to freaking fill Martinsville with dirt.
Exactly. So
Well,
that's what they're going to do. They're going to take, Bristol, Martinsville, wherever, and they're going to put dirt on it. It's going to be epic.
My only thing with that is, personally, I like the realism part. So if I know they've talked, Bristol has been turned into a dirt track. I don't believe Martinsville ever has, since it was a dirt track at one point. For me, the realism thing is I don't want to run a dirt Charlotte. I have no desire to do that.
Oh yeah.
No, but where it makes sense, like Irwindale or IRP or the smaller ovals, right?
I guess. I don't know. We talked about this on Messenger the other day. I'm not a big dirt guy. I've been an asphalt guy my whole life, but I'm sure it's going to be fun. But this to me it didn't excite me. But that's just me.
Right.
Yep, I would much rather have a Knoxville instead of a Eldora, but that's just my opinion.
Now, Steve Myers was taking recommendations in the forum of which dirt tracks should be added to the list, and a lot of people piped up. In fact, there's 11 pages on that thread alone. Knoxville is probably in every entry. One thing he noted, though, on the list that people were sending him, the pit road needs to be within the track, inside the oval. Yeah, for a lot of dirt tracks out there, even the one that's local to me, you don't pit inside the oval, you pit outside the oval.
Yep.
And anyway, Steve Myers was saying that's not going to work out technically. So if it pits outside the oval, that's not going to work.
That probably eliminates a lot of the smaller dirt tracks that are around the country.
And I don't know if that's forever or it's just for now or what, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, I will say, outside of oval racing, I think this does open up a huge market, because I think it's, rallying and stuff like that. And I know there's the autocross stuff or stuff now where you've got, like the car they scan. I know that's getting very big, so that's going to definitely open up a huge market.
Now, being that it's dirt, you're sliding around. A lot of the drifting community too might want to come over here and see if they can handle a dirt car.
Right.
I wonder if they'll in the future implement motorcycle racing or dirt racing with the
motorcycles. I mean, there's really nothing out there that can simulate an actual ride of a motorcycle,
Yeah, that's true.
Well, so next what happened was I was surprised to see late yesterday it was trending on Facebook as one of the top 3 trending items was iRacing is going to dirt. And that was kind of surprising to me. Were you guys, did you guys see that?
This is a surprise to me.
But correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't Facebook to some degree kind of look at, isn't that kind of based on what you look at too?
I don't know. I don't know if that's trending for everybody or just my trends or what. Good question. but it was trending on Facebook. The other thing I noticed, FoxSports.com actually covered it too in their NASCAR coverage. So if you go to Fox Sports website, you'll see a story on it. So on the Eldora. And a lot of the major NASCAR media picked up the Eldora dirt track signing with iRacing story. And so we got a lot of exposure from that. So, yeah, it's a big story. The final thing that happened, I believe, this morning, iRacing emailed everybody they know. I got an email. If you have an account with iRacing, you probably got one too. But just in case you live in a cave and you didn't hear about it, they emailed it to you as well. So I actually forwarded that to my wife so she could see I wasn't actually crazy when I was walking around the house yelling, "Dirt confirmed!"
If she's anything like my wife, she probably still thinks you're crazy.
So she put the suit away?
Yeah, I don't know. I was, did you guys, so here's my question. Did you really have any idea that iRacing's doing dirt before April 1st? I didn't see this coming, is what I'm trying to say.
No, I didn't. Like I told you, when I saw it, I rolled my eyes and I was like, oh man, I was like, you guys are not going to do this. This is horrible. This is not a good thing to do to the member base. You're really going to upset people to play this game.
Right. Yeah, I did not see it coming. Good job. It was, like you said, great marketing. I think Jack Davidson is one of the marketing guys over there now that's fairly new, and he's been doing a great job with all the videos and stuff, and I'm sure he has a part of this, but really they did a great job of kind of, like you said, playing it and kind of drumming up as much interest as they possibly could on social media. They did a really good job with Facebook and Twitter and kind of leaking stuff out as they go until it became a full-blown, this is for real,
Hey, Mike, with Brad's earlier comment about Rallycross, can we confirm that? Because in the email, it does say, you have your dirt super late models, Adore Speedway, Rallycross.
Yeah.
So I guess we are going to have Rallycross.
Yeah, the CAD car drawing was the Ford Rally car.
Yeah, it's the Chip Ganassi racing cars, one they scanned.
So are they gonna have like the Joker and all that, to where you have to take the long route at least once per race?
I don't know.
Oh, like the Red Bull series?
That's what I was saying. I mean, that opens up a huge market. I mean, that series has gotten extremely popular around the world.
Yeah, a lot of young people like that.
That's interesting because you can do a race that will go from an asphalt to a dirt road.
See, I'd be more excited to try that as opposed to dirt oval.
Oh,
Well,
without a doubt.
And when you guys say the word rally, I think of like global rally, F1 kind of stuff where they, go from down a dirt road, across the country kind of thing. It's not a oval or
Point to point.
Yeah, point to point.
Oh no, Rallycross is crazy, and it's actually. You think some of the NASCAR races at short tracks are dirty? You should see how these guys race. They're just running into each other constantly.
Speaking of which, that will require new hardware. That would require handbrakes.
Well, you're the one that's got all the money, so you can buy around for everybody.
Yeah, right.
Snap another button.
Not rich. Yeah, button. That's what I'll be mapping.
All right. So dirt is confirmed. Let's move on, and we got a couple more things, and we'll wrap up here. Video showcase this week. We really didn't have anybody contact us with a video showcase, so I'm going to tell you about a couple YouTube channels where you can watch Tifosi Racing actually race. A couple of our teammates do put up their races. One of them is Brian Cozier, Cosier. If you YouTube him, you will get his events, and you can watch us race and listen to us on TeamSpeak. Carlos, you have your channel as well, and you also put up the races sometimes.
Yep. Especially
And that's Chewy Side, Sim Side, Chewy. What is it? Chewy Side 55?
Yeah, you can get there either way. Sim Racing Chewy Side or the other one.
There you go. And Brian Cozier. So check those out. We have one hardware topic, and that's the Simu Cube. And I think we talked about this briefly before, but I wanted to, bring this up again. They're on Indiegogo raising money. They've raised $81,000 of a $25,000 goal, so they're way over. And basically what they're selling here for $400 is a kind of do-it-yourself wheel setup where they give you the electronics all in a box, all put together, ready to go, the actual motor for the wheel, the power supply, and other pieces you need to put this together. I think it's everything but the wheel.
Oh, given what it is, that's a steal. As long as you know what you're doing, able to build this stuff yourself.
Well, absolutely. And based on the amount of money they've raised, if you divide it out, that's 200 people that have invested in this thing. So we got 200 iRacers out here that have bought into this. So I'm kind of anxious to see this thing actually deliver, see what people say about it. This is really the next wheel on the horizon that I've seen out there that's going to be new to the community. So check it out. It's called Simu Cube, SIMU Cube, all one word, and you might want to get involved in that.
Yeah, direct drive has really gotten very popular, and if you can get it to where it's affordable, it's a good way to go. I'm definitely looking at that when it comes time to look at a new wheel.
Oh yeah, the price is definitely at $400 plus shipping. That's attractive.
Especially given that most other ones that are the same way are in the thousands.
Yeah, $2,000 for an AccuForce. Okay. So yeah, and you compare that to this $400. Well, yeah, you might have to spend another $400 to get a nice Momo wheel with a switch on it or something. But that's what I want. At the end of the day, I want a NASCAR wheel. Like a real NASCAR wheel. Yeah, or you could put up, whatever you want. If you want an F1 wheel or whatever. Very cool. So anyway, I've been watching that, and so with that, let's go into final thoughts. Carlos, you're up first.
Crap. Final thoughts on what?
On the podcast, Texas.
Oh, besides everything else that's happened this week, I'll go ahead and be ready here for Texas because it's one of my best tracks, and I'm hopefully gonna try to get a win.
Yep.
Try to.
Well, we're looking forward to that. Jeff, what do you got?
Finally, dirt comes to iRacing. That's all that needs to be said.
Yeah. Brad.
Looking forward to Texas. Hope somebody on the team's got some help with setup because I'm struggling. But, never been good at the quad ovals per se. But just looking forward to another week. And yeah, dirt's coming. Just we'll see what year it gets here.
Okay, Jose, final thoughts.
Well, like Brad said, we do have to start our work on our setups here. But my final thought is, looking forward to Dirt Confirm. Hopefully they will include rally course racing. It'll be interesting if they include going from asphalt to dirt and back to asphalt. That is, like I said, very, very interesting. Other than that, looking forward to Texas. Hopefully we all can do well there without getting involved in anybody's wrecks or getting involved in any wrecks ourselves. And I wish everybody the best of luck for the rest of the week.
Yep. And I guess for my final thoughts, you should probably have a picture. You guys have probably seen it. It looks like a clock, but it's the iRacing guy, and it has his hands. And all around the clock, instead of numbers, it just says soon, soon, soon. Well, like Brad alluded to, dirt racing is very exciting. We're all happy they're actually working on it, but don't expect it anytime soon. I would, like Brad said, would not expect to see it in 2016 at all. I'm not even going to consider it in 2016 because we know how iRacing moves. We know how long DX11 took. We know how long dynamic tracks took. This is going to be the same way, if not longer. So you really need to set your expectations as far as this goes, and wait for it. So with that being said, make sure to follow us on Twitter, iRacers Lounge. You can also follow our team at Tifosi Racing. We're really active over there now, so check it out, and you can keep up with us. So with that being said, we'll wrap it here. See ya.
Good night. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
This podcast has been brought to you by Sim Racing Chewy Side. For all your track guides and everything else sim racing, visit Sim Racing Chewy Side, YouTube, Chewy Side 55.
Thanks for listening to the iRacers Lounge podcast. Make sure to subscribe to us over on iTunes and Stitcher. See you on the track.